My name is Asibo Jaiwana Wonders, and today we are looking at the subject economics. And the topic we are considering today is the theory of demand. The theory of demand. That's the topic for today. We shall be looking at various aspects of the theory of demand and demand itself. We shall be looking at the types of demands. We shall also be looking at the nature and determination of elasticity of demand. We shall also be looking at the measurements of such demand. And of course, we look at the importance of those elasticity of demand to the consumers, the producers, and the government. And of course, we shall be taking some illustrations based on past UTME examination. And we also heading, we have the definition of demand. What is demand? What do you understand by demand? What is the meaning of demand? How can you explain the term demand as a student of economics? Here we have demand may be defined as the quantity of goods or services which a consumer is willing to buy, coupled with the ability to pay at a given price and at a given period of time. Demand is defined as the quantity of goods or services which a consumer is willing to buy, coupled with the ability to pay at a given price and at a given period of time. So, demand is regulated or governed by some factors. There must be willingness on the part of buyer. Willingness has to do with a desire to buy something, a kind of interest. You are interested in buying the goods or receiving the service. And beyond that, for a demand to be said to have taken place, not just having an interest or willingness to buy or a desire, you must have the ability to pay. You must have the ability to pay for the good or service. The ability has to do with your capacity, having the money to pay for whatever good you want to buy or whatever service you want to enjoy. At a given price, you must be willing to pay the price. If the price of the item is 10,000 naira, you must be willing and able, buoyant enough to pay the 10,000 naira within a given period of time. Because over time, inflation may set in and that price may change. So if the price is offered for a particular period, you must take advantage of it by ensuring you have the willingness and ability considering the price, then you can make your demand. As such, demand is set to have taken place where a consumer has the willingness to buy a particular product or service and is also able to pay for it, considering the price tag of that item within a given period of time. That's demand. So I hope we'll be able to explain the terminology demand from now on. The law of demand. Demand has a law. There is a law regulating demand and the that will be demanded. And the lower the price, the higher the quantity that will be demanded. It doesn't just end there. Economics says ceteris paribus. It means for this law to hold, every other factors must be constant, must be equal. That is the meaning of ceteris paribus. All other things being equal, the law of demand states that the higher the price of a commodity, good or service, the lower the quantity that will be demanded of that particular good or service, and vice versa. That is, the lower the price also, the higher the quantity that will be demanded. And that is so most of the times in our economy today. The price of a particular product, there is a fall in demand, telling us that quantity demanded is inversely related to price. If price goes up, demand falls. And if price goes down, demand rises. Ceteris paribus. All other things being equal. Quantity demanded is inversely related to price. So I told us we increase. There is an exception to the law of demand. There is an exception to this law in the sense that though the law says there is a price rise or high, the demand will fall and vice versa. There is an exception to the rule that it may not always be so based on some factors. Not always be so based on some factors. So the law does not hold true for commodity with abnormal demand, such as giffen goods. Such as giffen goods. I think ladies can tell us more about this, giffen goods. If you like, jack the price to 100,000 per item. They are still ready to buy it because of the packaging of the goods, the uniqueness of the goods. Sometimes the individual sees it as a luxury good to him or her, or a unique good to him or her. Unique, just peculiar to the individual. Yes, I'm the only one that has this kind of car. They are branded items. Apart from cars, such other lower goods like shoe. Oh, this shoe is unique. I've never seen this type before. This is a wonder shoe. This is a wonder handbag. Sometimes wristwatch. some wristwatch. So in that kind of goods, the law of demand seems not to hold true. Seems not to hold true because the price of that particular item does not affect the demand. The higher the price, of course, the demand will also rise. So you continue to buy the products. Looking at the service also, you discover that it's just like some private school today in the country. No matter how expensive their fees, their tuition fees are, some families still, patronize such a school because they feel the school is unique. To them, the higher the price, the more quality the school seems to be to them. It's unique. It's meant for a kind of a section of individuals, personalities in the society. I have one around Apo. I have one around Apo at a particular set of personalities. They see their children there. If you have a lower class, you dare not take your child there. So it's unique to them. They raise the school fees to 1 million, they will still not withdraw their children. So they feel they are getting uniqueness, quality service as it were from them. So in such case, the law of demand doesn't hold. Then we say the quantity demanded is positively related to price. In that circumstance, the quantity demanded of that particular good or service is positively related to price. Price goes up, demand also goes up. Demand function or functions of demand. A demand function is mathematically expressed, which depicts the relationship that exists between quantity demanded and factors that affect demand. The function has a mathematical expression that depicts, that is, means the relationship, it shows the relationship between quantity demanded and such factors. And here we have this expression QD X comma I comma and T, where QD is quantity demanded. QD represents quantity demanded, F represents the function, and P represents price, P0 represents the population, PX is price of substitutes to the goods, a good that can replace the other. Then I is income of consumers, and T represents the consumer taste, the individual taste. We have a sample question here, and it says, if QD as quantity demanded equal to 4 minus 4P, and P is given as 4, what is the quantity demanded? That is one of the past JAMB questions, UTME question. It says solve for P. What is the quantity demanded? That's QD. What is the quantity demanded in this equation? QD equal to 40 minus 4P, and P is given as 4. All you need to do is you substitute 4 for P. Wherever you see P, you put 4. And in this equation, we have 4P here. So you bring in 4 in place of P. It becomes 4 times 4. 4 multiplied by 4, as you have it here. And you have 16, as you have it here. Therefore, we have QD equal to 40 minus 16. 40 minus 16 gives us 24. That's how we arrive at this answer. So you go to your options A to D on the question. You select 24 as your answer. We'll be looking at more examples and past UTME questions as we progress on the tutorial. Determinants of demand. Determinants of demand. Earlier, we have made mention of few of them, but here we are elaborating on them. We have more of them here. What factors determines demand? That we either make demand to rise or fall. That we make demand to rise. Watch me. Rise, you see the direction of the arrow. Rise or fall. So master those terms. Demand is said to rise, or price is said to rise, and demand is said to fall, and price is said to fall. So as an economist or a student of economics, don't be using the word going down or going up. Demand either rises or falls, prices either rise or fall, not go down or go up. So these are some factors that may affect demand. Number one is price of the commodity. If the price rises, ceteris paribus, all other things being equal, the demand falls. Automatically, the demand for that good or service falls. Except for given goods, as we have made to know earlier. Then, price of other commodities. Price of other commodities also affects demand. Then another factor is income of consumer. Remember, demand has to do with ability to pay. So the income of the buyer, the consumer is seen as a buyer here, goes a long way to determine whether the consumer will be able to buy a particular good or pay for a particular product. If the income is high, he has more capacity. But if the income is low, he has a lower capacity. Change in taste is another factor that can affect demand. Take for instance, let's say meat now, like beef. You have meat like beef, that's cow meat. Then you have fish. Or let me not even use the word fish. Let's look for a close substitute to that: goat meat. Beef, goat meat. You see someone who was having a liking for beef. That's a liking for beef. Each meal, he or she prefer eating beef. And suddenly, I don't like beef again. I want to be eating goat meat. That may be the end of buying beef by that particular consumer. And of course, it will affect the demand of beef in the market. Can you imagine you have a market of 50 consumers? Maybe in a day, 50 consumers of beef who are as a form of meat. And as time passes by, just discover about 15 of them lost taste for beef. 15 of them lost taste for beef. And each time this 15 of them is entering the market, their customer is saying, I'm here. Before you know it, they divert to the other place to go and buy goat meat because they have lost taste. So the implication of that is the market for beef would have been affected. Those of them that are selling beef, to some extent, they might be forced to change their line of business to start selling goat meat if it has a significant impact or effect on their sales as time goes on. So that's it. Change in taste affects demand. Change in weather. They say weather is the atmospheric condition of a place. Change in weather. The weather in our environment here where we reside has been very hot, very hot. I told someone yesterday that 2 days ago, I had to take my bath 5 times. And I'm serious. Sometimes your fan may work and become very hot. So you are forced, because of the weather, coerced to take some other decisions. Ordinarily, if it's a cold season, I may not have my bath more than thrice. That 2 days ago. But weather made me to decide otherwise. The same thing applies to demand. The weather can affect demand. Weather can make people to buy more water. Very hot season, hot season, dry season, sunshine everywhere. Everywhere is hot. So people tend to consume more water, cold water. Give me cold mineral, cold Fanta, cold Pepsi. Weather, just because of weather, the demand goes up. Then another key factor is fashion. Change in fashion. Change in fashion. There are new designs, new structures, here and there. Technology. Change your fashion. You see a particular dress that be moving and suddenly there is no more demand because maybe it's outdated. It's now obsolete in terms of fashion. It's no longer raining. You use the word it's no longer raining. That cloth not the rain again now. You're still wearing that clothes. And that shoe not the rain again now. You're still using that shoe. And that car is no longer raining. I told someone yesterday or some group of people, I was just telling them when an idea came to me, occurred to me. I said, the white, for a long time, they have actually taken advantage of the blacks, particularly Africa. How? Suddenly, you just discover that, to some extent, a new brand of it will just emerge, and people will shift base from that former one to the new one in use. What's the same? Just little difference in features. Take for instance the phone we are using, either Infinix phone, Techno phone, and all that. You have Infinix, Hot Note 4, they will say Hot Note 3, Hot Note 5, Hot Note 6, Hot Note 8. Just like that. Different features. And you now go to the market, they will not tell you that Hot 3 is no longer raining. That is the language they use, no longer raining because of change. Clothes, the same thing. You tell you particular material is no longer raining. That's just it. And the demand for such products fall drastically and shift demand to the new products. Black population. Black population can also affect demand. It has to do with people living in a particular geographical location. Nigeria is a very big market. Very big market that demand can be very high. Demand for a particular product can be very high. Community. Take for instance Kano State in Nigeria. Places like Lagos, where activity, let me say, a place like Kwara. However, depending by the government, just recently, the value-added tax was raised from 5%, that used to be, to 7.5%. So that may affect demand. Because, truly speaking, especially in this part of the world, the burden of taxation is usually shifted to the consumer. We call them final consumer. The burden of taxation. What that means is, if taxation goes up, the difference is so. Demand schedules and curves. Demand schedules and curves. We have this information. Mr. Uga's normal demand schedule for energy drinks. Energy drinks like Power Horse. You have the price per can of energy drink. You have the quantity demanded per month, number of cans of energy drinks. So at 900 naira, 10 is demanded. At 800, 20 demanded. At 700 naira, 25 demanded. 600 naira, 30 demanded. 500 naira, 35 demanded. At 400 naira, 40 demanded. 300 naira, 45 was demanded. At 200 naira, 50 was demanded. At 100 naira, 55 naira was demanded. And you plot that to the graph here. You have this graph here, Mr. Dragon's normal demand curve. Using this table to plot this graph. Use this table demanded according to the information given on the table. From this point, 0, that's where the demand meets the price. 0. You have 100, 200, just according to the figures, the amount here. See it increasing up to 900. Then the demand side, you have from point 0, you have 10, 20, 25, increasing to 55. If you look at the graph, you see the curve, demand, T demand. Now, it's showing us that at price 100, naira, a lot of quantity was demanded, 55 was demanded. When price increased from 100 naira to 200 naira, the quantity demanded dropped. And the implication was that some of the consumers, they have taken to their heels, say they are not buying again. They stop completely, they are not buying at all. Then another implication is a consumer that have been buying, say, 10 of that particular commodity may now reduce it to 5 instead of the usual 10 they've been buying. Keep falling. As the price was rising, the demand, quantity demanded was falling until it gets to 10. Price rose from 100 naira to 900 naira. Quantity demanded fell from 55 items demanded to 10. So that is to tell us how strong, how effective price is when it comes to demand. Like we said before, September, but this time around means richest abnormal demand schedule for diamond. Now, from this graph, you notice the difference is that the demand curve sloped upward here from the left to the right. From the left to the right. But the previous one sloped from the left to the right also. But here, you discover that the price of the commodity, that's diamond now, does not necessarily affect the quantity demanded. At 90 naira, quantity demanded per month was 25. At 80 naira, 20. 70 naira, 18. 60 naira, 15. 50 naira, 12. 40 naira, 10. 30 naira, 5. 20 naira, 3. 10 naira, 2. 30 naira, 5. It doesn't have what we will call regular intervals. A particular quantity at regular intervals as a result of either the price falling or the price rising. So here it is said that there is an abnormal demand schedule, because the normal demand schedule normally slopes from the left to the right like this, taking this dimension, showing that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. But this one is showing, though the price is going up, the quantity demanded was also going up. That makes it abnormal. Why? Because of the good or service that is involved. The first example we consider was energy drink, like power. Whether the price goes up, whether the price rises, according to this arrow, the demand may continue to rise, contrary to the law of demand, which says that the price rises, change in quantity demanded and change in demand. Change in quantity demanded may be referred to as change in the quantity purchased of a commodity due to an increase or decrease in the price of the product. Change in quantity demanded refers to change in the quantity purchased of a commodity due to increase or decrease in the price of the product. So if price rises, the quantity demanded falls. And if price falls, the quantity demanded rises. He said it is a movement along the same demand curve, just like we were illustrated in that first diagram. That first diagram with energy drink. Demand expands or contracts. Demand expands or contracts depending on the price. Depending on the price. Either expands or contracts. A decrease in price from P1 to P2 resulted in an increase in quantity demanded from Q1 to Q2. A decrease in price from P1 to so the decrease in price brings about increase in quantity demanded. There is a movement along the same demand curve from point A to point B, as illustrated here. See, the curve shifted from here point B. So there's a movement showing that any attempt in reducing the price of this commodity, the demand will increase. The consumers will buy more, or more consumers will come into the market to buy. Now, we've considered change in quantity demanded in relation to a decrease in price. Here, we are considering change in quantity demanded in relation to an increase in price. Look at the diagram, the graph, as plotted here. You see, this arrow is showing that there was a price increase from P2 to P1. Coming to the quantity demanded axis, we call this quantity demanded axis, while this axis is called the price axis. You also notice that the arrow is showing us that the quantity demanded fell from Q2 to Q1. Why? Because of an increase in the price of the commodity. If the price was originally at P2, you notice that the quantity demanded was more at a point called Q2. And when the price rose to P1 from P2, the quantity demanded fell from Q2 to Q1. So it is said that there is a movement upward. The previous one was that there was a movement downward. But here there is a movement upward from point A on the demand curve to point A. From point B on the demand curve to point A. It's an upward movement, showing that an increase in price can bring about a reduction in demand. So this contracted the demand, thus there is a movement along the same demand curve from point B to A. Change in demand. Change in demand refers to increase or decrease in demand of a commodity due to various determinants or factors of demand, except the price of the commodity. So here, it is said that there is an exception to the law of demand. The law of demand says a rise in price or increase in price will bring about a fall in demand or a decrease in demand, and vice versa. But here, it doesn't hold true. May not determine demand. It may not determine demand by a particular consumer or a group of consumers. So that means, for instance, let's look at the car owners. The car owners, we've been hearing about pump price hike, fuel price hike, and all that. And still discover that people still buy fuel in their car. It doesn't mean that if you are coming from a particular distance to another distance, maybe your office, Now, because price has gone up, you will now reduce the price. Sorry, the quantity of fuel you normally use, maybe in driving. The quantity will remain the same. If you have been using, say, 10 liters for a particular distance, maybe few kilometers, it's still that same quantity you still use, even if the price rise from, say, 87 naira to 145 naira, it doesn't change the quantity you use. So it means if you've been buying 10 liters to take you for that distance, you still continue to buy that 10 liters at the new price of 145 naira. They mean increase or decrease in demand of a commodity due to various all other factors except price. Except price. Except price. It is a shift to a new demand curve. But in the case of quantity demanded, it's a shift along the same demand curve. But this time around, the curve has entirely a new demand curve. It either shifts from the left to the right, or from bottom to top, depending on the commodity. So it is a shift to a new demand curve and not a movement. The quantity demanded is related to a movement along the same demand curve, but change in demand is related to a shift in demand curve. Then we have demand increases or decreases. Demand increases or decreases, not because of price. Please take note. Not because of price, as it is in the law of demand, but because of other factors. Because of other factors. Coronavirus. Before it was Ebola. Now it's coronavirus. And truth be told, if there is a known discovered vaccine, generally accepted that yes, this is the demand for that vaccine will be very high, especially from those parts of the world that are majorly affected now, like China. We'll buy more of it. When Ebola was everywhere, it was Ebola. So that is some examples we may look at. An increase in demand shown on this diagram. The price axis, the quantity axis. The price is constant here. If you raise the price, the quantity demanded is still there. The producer of such goods will still maintain their income. That's the meaning. Still there. If the price falls, the same thing happens. It's still there. Showing us that price necessarily is not a determinant of demand in this kind of commodity. Demand increased from Q1 to Q2, while price remained constant at the same price. Demand rose from Q1 to Q2. This led to outward shift from D1, old demand curve, to D2, new demand curve. A decrease in demand. At the same price, you see there is a shift from the old demand curve to the new demand curve, as shown by this arrow, that price is held constant at this point, but demand fell from Q1, given this kind of commodity or product. It's not price. It's not a price. It could be technology, maybe population. It may be disease. Like I've given an example with coronavirus. Let's discover that the demand for such vaccine will just shoot up, especially by nations that are majorly affected. So that's a very good example. Next slide. Differences between a change in quantity demanded and a change in demand. Change in quantity demanded on one side, change in demand on the other side. So you may even be asked in your UTME exam or JAM exam, say the following are the differences between change in quantity demanded and change in price, except one. Except one. So they expect to identify the one that is not. So they will give you 4 different options, A to D. But here, note these differences. Number 1, price determined by price. Price is the only determinant. But in the case of change in demand, several determinants except price of the commodity. Other factors can determine change in demand, but not price. That's one difference. Another difference is, as I have sung like a song, there is a movement along a demand curve. The same demand curve, there is a movement under quantity demanded, but not so under change in demand. Rather, we have a shift from the demand curve, a shift from the old demand curve to a new demand curve. So you have 2 different demand curves under change in demand, whereas under change in quantity demanded, you just have one curve, a curve. Another difference, number 3, there is an expansion and contraction of demand under quantity demanded. But under change in demand, you have increase and decrease in demand. Types of demand. Types of demand. We have derived demand, competitive demand, composite demand, and complementary demands. And each of these demands has its own uniqueness, as will be meant to know. Number one, we have derived demand. Derived demand refers to a situation where the demand for one resource creates demand for another one. Demand for all factors of production is derived demand. And what are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital. Land, labor, capital. And some will say an entrepreneurship. It means your demand for such factors of production is not necessarily to have a direct satisfaction from the direct use of that item, but to enable you produce another item for consumption, that you eventually get satisfaction for the desire, for the consumption. For instance, you can use land for farming, the same thing with labor, the same thing with capital. Either money or machines. Use machines for production of various uses. So the demand for machinery is derived from the demand for consumer goods that the machinery can make. That's derived demand. Composite demand. This refers to demand for a commodity which has several uses. Several uses. For example, the total demand for rubber is made up of the separate demands for making shoes, can be used for belts, can be used for raincoats, etc. And what have you. That's composite demand. Rubber lattice. Another good example is crude oil. That can be used for various purposes. You get your fuel, your kerosene, your diesel, and all that. So this falls under composite demand. Competitive demand. Competitive demand refers to the demand for products which have close substitutes. For one commodity excludes the demand for another. Very close substitutes. Very, very close substitutes. A good example is Coke and Pepsi. Coke and Pepsi. Substitutes. And they are produced by two different companies. Two different products produced by Coca-Cola is also produced by Pepsi. Coca-Cola has Coke, then you have Pepsi, and they have a Fanta, then you have Mirinda. They have Sprite, then Pepsi has Tim. Coca-Cola too has Tim. You see, they are very similar. And price may easily affect the demand. Coke is like 120, 150. Pepsi, you may get for 100 naira. If you don't want to substitute for Coke, Pepsi you may get for 100 naira. That's it. Goat meat, beef meat. Someone will say meat na meat. Well, meat is not meat though. Fish. You have different kinds of fish or fishes. You have croaker fish. Those of you that know croaker. You have tilapia fish. Then you have catfish. That's the one I prefer to eat, catfish. Mostly for pepper soup. After the one they call point and kill, that one is still alive. The other ones, they always prepare dead. Already dead. Tilapia, croaker, but catfish is always in the fish pond. Under competitive demand. Some prefer croaker fish, while some prefer tilapia fish. You have some customers that will say, okay, give me croaker fish. Some will say, I prefer tilapia, some catfish, as the case may be. We have another smaller one they call ice fish. So if you cannot buy croaker fish, tilapia, catfish, so you may be able to buy ice fish. That is of a smaller value. If two goods A and B are in competitive demand, an increase in the price of A will result in an increase in the demand for B. That is it. You have croaker, you have tilapia, you have catfish. Especially for someone that like the three. They are liking for the three. The one you have been buying 4,000 before per month, maybe croaker. It now comes, you say croaker is now 7,000. 3,000 naira difference. And your catfish you have been selling for 3,000, still remain 3,000. It's now 3,200. The man will not buy croaker again. Go for catfish. After all, they sell fish now fish. Example of two goods within a competitive demand. You also see tea and coffee. For those that prefer to take both. So if the price of tea rises to a particular level, the consumer may not be able to bear, they shift base to coffee and start taking coffee. Tea may continue to sell except the consumer also like coffee. If the consumer doesn't like coffee, he or she only likes taking tea. So if the price of tea rise from say 100 naira to 200 naira, the person will still continue to take tea because he or she likes it, except he decides to stop taking tea. Another type of demand we have is what we call joint or complementary demand. As the name implies, complementary. They complement each other or one another. Complementary. Engine cannot move except you add complementary. Torchlight. Those of us that still use torchlight and battery, or with battery, your torchlight will not be on except you put either Tiger battery or whatever battery you want to put inside. So you open the cover, put like 2 batteries, depending on the requirement, the mode or the make. Some are 3 batteries, some are 4. We even have some radio tape that apart from charger, apart from charging it, apart from the fact that they are rechargeable, you can also use your battery. You load your battery inside and you start enjoying the radio or cassettes you want to play or whatever, DVD. So that's joint complementary demand. It refers to the demand for goods which are complementary to each other. Goods which are jointly demanded are called complementary goods. The demand for one must force you to demand for the other. Otherwise, the other will be useless to you. It will be useless to you. You cannot enjoy a GoTV or DSTV, for instance, without a screen. So if you are going to buy GoTV or DSTV, make sure you're also prepared to buy TV, either plasma or cable TV, whichever is your choice. So if the goods A and B are complementary goods, an increase in the price of good A will lead to a decrease in the demand for good B. What we are saying here is, if the price of radio tape, for instance, goes up, and the price of battery remains the same, or sometimes they even reduce the price of battery. For the fact that people are no longer buying tape, we also make them not to buy battery. But it wasn't the price of battery that was increased, but because they are complementary goods. Because they are complementary goods, you won't buy again. That's consumer behavior. That is, it's a normal behavior of the consumer. You won't buy again. You won't buy again. Then you have another example here: toothpaste and toothbrush. But the truth is, we continue to brush our teeth. Then you have fuel and motor vehicle, car. Because there are some questions, some past questions on UTME based on the types of demand. You may be asked, what kind of demand for goods? What type of demand for goods is toothpaste and brush, or radio tape and battery? You should know they are referring to joint or complementary demand. Type, nature, determination of elasticity, and their measurements. Elasticity of demand. I hope we understand the meaning of elasticity. When something is elastic, let me see what I can use to give us example. When something is elastic, when you say something is elastic, that's elasticity, from the word elastic. Now, look at me. This rubber band for binding cash and whatever. Now, watch me. You see, I'm stretching it. The meaning of this, what I'm doing, it means the rubber band is elastic. is elastic. It means it can be expanded. That's the meaning. It can be expanded from where it is now. It can either be expanded or contracted. It can either be expanded or contracted based on the factors that come into play. Based on factors that come into play, may be expanded or contracted. So that's why we have here the elasticity of demand is the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a commodity to changes in one of the variables on which demand depends. On which demand depends. Is the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a commodity to changes in one of the variables on which demand depends. Income, weather, population, taste, and what have you. The consumer's income and all that. Then we have price elasticity of demand as a type of elasticity. Price elasticity of demand. We also have what we call cross elasticity of demand. Then we have what we call income elasticity of demand. Now here we have price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand is the degree to which the quantity demanded of a commodity responds to a change in its own price. So what that means is this type of elasticity of demand, as price elasticity of demand, is measured by the responsiveness of a change in the quantity demanded in relation to the price of that same commodity. These are the illustration. On the price axis, we have point P1, that's price 1. Then we have point P2, price 2. On the quantity axis, we have point Q1, then point Q2. This illustration is showing us that at price P1, the quantity demanded was Q1. And when the price fell to point P2, the quantity demanded also fell to point Q2. So in this case, demand is said to be elastic. Demand is said to be elastic. As I illustrated before, demand is said to be elastic. Meaning, if a price goes up like this, if the price goes up, the quantity demanded falls. Price rise, not goes up. Price rise, quantity demanded falls. And if price was at this level and the price falls like this, the demand will be forced to rise. We call them market forces. Market forces of demand and supply. Market forces of demand and supply. And of course, if demand rises, the producers will supply more, knowing fully well that they must sell. They supply more, they have to sell. When you have here, price fell from P1 to P2, quantity demanded increased from Q2 to Q1. That's inelastic demand. If that happens, if a change in price leads to a relatively large change in quantity demanded, then demand for the commodity is said to be elastic, as we have in this case. If the change in quantity demanded is relatively small, demand is said to be inelastic. Demand is said to be inelastic, according to this, as represented by this diagram. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first segment of this topic. We'll be taking some UTME questions. We'll not need this one. So that's the end of the first segment as we have presented to us. And with the knowledge we have acquired or gained so far, all UTME JAM questions on the topic, the theory of demand. The theory of demand. And before I continue, by way of notes, you may write this somewhere. That the different elasticity of demand we have is price elasticity of demand, number one. Number two, income already told us what the price elasticity of demand is. The income elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of the quantity demanded for a good or service in relation to the consumer income. Why that of price is in relation to price, but this time around in relation to the consumer's income, signifying that the more income a consumer has, the more likely the consumer will buy more of a particular product. Just like the saying goes, the soup when it's sweet, na money killer. The soup when it's sweet, na money killer. So if there is more money at the disposal of the consumer, it tends to buy more of that particular product so that the utility can be at the maximum level, can have maximum satisfaction of that particular commodity. The cross elasticity of demand good to a change in price of another good, not the same good. It measures the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a particular good or service to a change in price in relation to a change in price of another good, ceteris paribus. all other things being equal. All other things being equal. Like we illustrated before, the consumer is not able to buy Coke for 150 naira, he only has 100 naira, he or she may buy Pepsi. So that's cross elasticity of demand. It cross from one product to the other. Instead of buying a particular product, they buy the other. Why? Because of the price of Coke. That is 150. He or she doesn't have 150, but he has 100 naira. He or she would have preferred to drink Coke. But because he doesn't have 150 for Coke, he or she has only 100 naira. And he or she wants to buy Pepsi and drink Pepsi. So that's it. So now that we'll take some UTME questions based on past examinations. I have so many questions here. I see the ones you'll be able to take. Pay close attention and listen carefully. He said the type of demand that exists between torchlight and battery is called what? The type of demand that exists between torchlight and battery is called what? This is what we have been taught already, so I expect we are able to answer it correctly. We have talked about the types of demand. So now this is the jam question. A, competitive demand. B, complementary demand. C, composite demand. D, independent demand. What's the answer? The answer is B, complementary demand. The answer is B, complementary demand, torch and battery. Of course, I remember I used it as one of our examples, torch and battery. They are complementary. We'll take another question. Take another question. Question 10 says, if the demand for palm oil is for the purpose of soap production and cooking, the demand is said to be as using soap to produce different products, different goods. What is that kind of demand called? If the demand for palm oil is for the purpose of soap production and cooking, the demand is said to be A, competitive demand, B, complementary demand, C, composite demand, D, general demand. So what's your answer? What's the correct answer? Is it competitive, complementary, composite, or derived? The correct answer is C, composite demand. Composite demand. We'll go to question 31. Question 31. Another UTME question on the topic, the theory of demand. These are questions centered on demand. Question 31. From the table above, we have a table. The price is given as 6 naira to 5 naira. It fell from 6 naira to 5 naira. Quantity demanded fell from 20 naira to 16 naira. Telling us that if price goes down, if price fall, quantity demanded also fall. So calculate the elasticity of demand. 4. The correct answer is C, 0.33, according to the formula we've been given. Go to another question, question 7. They are not serially numbered because they are different years question. Question 7. Question 7. Okay. We are there. Question 7. Please listen attentively. The major determinant of income elasticity of demand is what? The major determinant of income elasticity of demand is what? A, government policy. B, the availability of substitutes. C, the price of the good. D, the level of consumers' income. The level of consumers' income. The major determinant of income elasticity of demand is what? The answer is D. It has to do with the consumer's income. Meaning, then we are looking at question 11. Question 11. Question 11. It says, the demand curve for a normal good is negatively sloped because the demand curve for a normal good is negatively sloped because A, price is an incentive to producers. Price is an incentive to producers. Price is an incentive to consumers. That is B. B, price is an incentive to consumers. C, demand always exceeds supply. Demand always exceeds supply. D, price and quantity move in the same direction. Price and quantity move in the same direction. So what is the correct answer there? The correct answer is B, option B. Price is an incentive to consumers. Say the curve, the demand curve for a normal good is negatively sloped because price is an incentive to consumers. That is it. Price, very important to consumers. Very important. A major determinant of demand is A, incentive to workers. B, level of technology. C, population. D, cost of production. Cost of production. A major determinant of demand is A, incentives to workers. B, level of technology. C, population. D, cost of production. The correct answer is C, population. Population is a major determinant. Where you have more people, you are likely to have a particular good sold in large quantity. That's true. That's true. Places like Nigeria, you have a lot of people likely to sell a particular good if they have liking for the good. So we look at question 34. The same year, question 34. Question Sorry, let's take question 37 is related. The demand for inferior goods is inversely related to change in A, income, B, price, C, supply, D, taste. The correct answer of the consumer is inversely related to the demand for inferior goods. So the correct option is option A, income. Now go back to question 17. Question 17. Oh. Excuse me. Yeah, question 17. It says a fall in price of ostentatious goods will A, increase the quantity demanded, B, decrease the quantity demanded, C, decrease demand, D, increase demand. Price of ostentatious goods. A fall in the price of ostentatious goods will do what? Of course, the answer is B, decrease in the quantity demanded. To bring about decrease in the quantity demanded. Two. Question 22. A tax burden on a commodity will be shared equally if the demand is A, fairly elastic, B, perfectly inelastic, C, fairly inelastic, D, unitary elastic. I take it again. A tax burden on a commodity will be shared equally if the demand is A, fairly elastic, B, perfectly inelastic, unitary elastic. Question 22. The correct option answer is on a particular product is usually transferred to the consumers of that product. Usually transferred to the consumer of that product. I gave example with the value added tax that the federal government has just increased from 5% to 7.5%. So automatically that product they've been consuming. So that's it. So the consumer is the one that ultimately pays the tax. That's the meaning. Then question 24. Question 24. Question 24. Yeah. Let me see. Question 24. Okay. There is a graph here showing quantity demanded, quantity supplied, and the price of the commodity. Let's see. I've got to say this. Got this diagram here. Please look up. Look at this demand and supply diagram. Supply diagram. is x0, x1, x1, x0. Then you have P0, P1. You have Q0, Q1. This is the quantity axis, while this is the price axis. Now, the question is, from the graph above, from this graph, a shift of the supply curve from x0, this is the supply curve, x0, this is supply curve, to x1, this is another supply curve, x1, will lead to what? A shift from here to here will lead to what? You discover the price will change from P0 to P1, and the quantity also will change from Q0 to Q1. Now let's look at the options. A decrease in price and quantity. They are saying price will fall and quantity will fall. That is not true from this graph. The next one says no change in price and quantity. That is not true. The price has changed. The price has fell to P1, and the quantity demanded has increased to Q1. So option B is not correct. Option C says an increase in price and quantity. The price never increased, but the quantity increased. But that is not true. C is not correct. This is a decrease in price, that is correct, and an increase in quantity demanded, that's correct. The price fell and the quantity demanded increased. So the correct answer is option D, a decrease in price and an increase in quantity, according to this graph. So we should take note on how to interpret graph as we have done tonight. Question 39. Please don't forget, we are looking at the topic, the theory of demand, under the subject economics. Economics is our subject tonight, and the topic remains the demand, the theory of demand. The topic remains the theory of demand. We are considering some past UTME JAM questions based on the explanation given tonight on the subject matter. Question 39. If a fall in the price of commodity K brought about an increase in the demand for commodity Y, the two commodities are said to be what? Composite demand, A, demand. Complementary demand. If a fall in the price of commodity K brought about an increase in the demand of commodity Y, the two commodities are said to be what? Are they composite? Are they composite commodity, or are they derived in nature? Are they substitutes, or are they complementary goods? The answer is D. They are complements. They are complements. And the last question here for this here we are considering is question 48. Question number 48. This is a calculation. Question 48. If quantity demanded QD is equal to 40 minus 4P and P is equal to 4 naira, what is quantity demanded? What is quantity demanded? You have 40 minus 4P and P is given as 4 naira. So what is quantity demanded? So we've solved this similar question before. Wherever you have P, you substitute 4 naira. So we now have 40 minus 4 times 4. 4 times 4 gives us 16. 40 minus D, 26. The correct answer is C, 24. So we move to another year questions. Move to another year's question. Another year question. Question number 7. Let's look at it together. Question number 7. We have a graph here. We have a graph here. You have this graph. Look up and let's consider this question 7. We have this graph. This supply, we have this demand curve. Wow. We have this demand curve, D0, D1, D0, D1. And we have P0, P1. We have Q0, Q1. This point is point 0. This quantity demanded, DD, and you have the price, as is. Now, is a combination of factors responsible for a shift from D0 to D1, from D0 to D1 are what? A, consumers' income and change. Consumer income and change in technology. B, price of the commodity and weather conditions. C, weather conditions. C, consumers' income and population size. Then D, consumers' taste and change in price. Consumer taste and change in price. D0 shift from D0 to D1. From here, this shift from here to here. What are the combination of the factors? The correct answer is D, consumers' taste and change in price. If there is a change in the taste of a consumer concerning a particular product, of course, the demand curve will shift to a new level. The same thing with the price. The demand curve will shift to this new level, D1. So the correct answer is D. We look at question 8. There is A, change in the quantity demanded as price changes. B, shift in the demand curve. C, movement along a given demand. D, change in the price elasticity of demand. A change in demand for a normal good implies that there is a change in the price of elasticity of demand. That is it. A normal good. When there is a change in price, there will be a change in the elasticity of demand. So the correct answer is D. Change in the price of elasticity of demand. Go to question 10. Question 10 says, if a 10% rise in price causes a 5% decrease in the quantity demanded of a commodity, which is very normal, the elasticity demand is what? A, unitary. A, inelastic. And C, elastic. The correct answer is D, perfectly inelastic. We'll take another year question. Question 7. Question 7. Question 7. Yeah, question 7 for another year. We have another diagram. We have another diagram. It's a similar diagram, meaning this question was repeated in another year. And what? A, consumers' income and change in technology. B, price of the commodity and whether. Then conditions. C, consumers' income and population size. Then D, consumers' taste and change. Of course, the answer is D, consumer taste and change. Consumer taste and change. Consumer taste and change. We take question 8. An increase in the price of a commodity. Increase in the price of a commodity will result in what? An increase in the price of a commodity will result in what? A decrease in the quantity demanded. B, an increase in demand. C, an increase in quantity demanded. D, a decrease in demand. The correct option is a decrease in the quantity demanded. A decrease in the quantity demanded. We'll take 2 more questions. Question 9. You have this diagram. You have G. Demand is what? A, unitarily elastic. B, perfectly inelastic. C, perfectly elastic. And D, fairly elastic. The answer is C, perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic. So that will be our last question for today on the subject economics, topic theory of demand. Thank you. See you next time.